Welcome to Closet Thoughts. It's the 7th of April, and we're going to talk about bad habits again. We're following up on yesterday's topic. We talked about how to overcome bad habits. And as I continued to read in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, I was realizing there's a lot of information on why bad habits form in the first place. So I thought I would just first quickly read through these two verses which explain the process of habit creation. So Krishna describes, he says, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Hey Alex, thanks for tuning in. Hi Carol. So we're talking about bad habits and how we can deal with them. So basically, what Krishna is describing is that bad habits begin with contemplation. So what are we thinking about? And so at every moment we have the ability to determine where our consciousness goes. And so we need to take up this power and understand how this habit forming process works. And Krishna describes that from contemplation comes attachment. So we talked about the example of smoking cigarettes yesterday. So we start to contemplate something we want to do, and then we develop an attachment for it. And from this attachment, lust arises, or strong desire. Lust doesn't just mean sexual energy or sexual attraction. It just means a strong, strong desire. And so there's an incredible momentum towards doing this activity now. And this is where it can become very difficult to stop this process. And so at this point, anger arises, Krishna says. And this anger can completely bewilder our memory and put us into delusion. And we all have experience of this, where maybe we're with people we love, but we become angry and we lose good sense, and we might say things that are offensive, do things that aren't beneficial for our relationship, things that we know aren't good if we had a calm head on our shoulders. And so this is where the part of the process gets incredibly dangerous, because from this bewilderment of memory, or from this delusion, we lose our memory even. And so we're forgetting about the past when we might have been successful in overcoming these bad habits, or the future possibility of overcoming bad habits. And the greatest trick of the mind here is to think that my current situation, this is the absolute. So how it is now is how it's always been, and how it always will be. And so this is a very dangerous delusion our mind can convince us of, that this is how it's always been. I'm just like this. This is how I'm always going to be. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough to deal with these bad habits. And then after losing our memory, we lose our intelligence. And so we lose our ability. Intelligence is the ability to analyze and choose what is good or bad, what's beneficial or not. And we completely lose this ability. And we basically just lose all ability to have good sense and make good choices. And then finally, Krishna says that we fall down into the material pool. We fall down into a material conception of life, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid. We all who are watching this video, I would hope, are trying to become spiritual beings, or realize we already are. And so this whole process of falling back into a material conception of life starts with contemplation. So what are we thinking of at every moment? This is what we need to, what I hope that we will all start to become more conscious of in the days moving forward, because this is how the process of cultivating future desires and actions, how it all begins. What we contemplate, we cultivate. And so with our thoughts, we're nurturing seeds for future actions, for future situations, for ourselves and our own personality. Who are we becoming? And so I hope that everyone will take some time to consider this process and watch it in action. And hopefully as soon as possible, we can recognize these steps happening from attachment to lust from contemplation to attachment to lust to anger, etc. And hopefully before it gets to anger even, we can restrain our mind and pull it back under control. And if you want to look more into it, These verses are in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And we'll go more into it tomorrow, but please let me know if any one of you have specific questions. I'm happy to go further on any of these topics. I'm kind of just giving general summaries of some of the main ideas that Krishna presents in the Bhagavad Gita. So thanks all of you for tuning in. Hope this is valuable. I hope someone out there will take this seriously and hopefully can inspire me to continue with this spiritual path that I'm on as well. Thank you for watching. Hare Krishna.